Hello everyone, welcome. Today I was playing through Xenoblade Chronicles and I was looking at the floor and I just noticed how nice this little texture is. And I wanted to point it out. And not just this little texture, but this texture over here as well. It's quite nice. And then when I look at it, I think about how somebody created this just to be on the floor here. And like, it's a little even out of the way, because normally when you walk into this room, you just go right for this teleporter, or you're coming from the teleporter and you just walk right past it. Now, you should in theory see it every single time you walk by, but this time, I really noticed it. And that got me thinking, what else is in this area? What other things can I find inside of this area of the game that are just really unique and interesting and things that you don't normally note when you're playing through a video game? Here's another texture. It's much larger than the other one that we were just looking at, and right across from it there's another floor texture as well. I think they did a really good job with these floor textures. They look really, really nice. Is this just the same texture that was in that previous room and scaled up a little bit? Let's find out. And if it's not that, I wonder if we can find another spot where that texture is used somewhere in this town. Okay, here we go. Here's the texture. Oh yeah, sure enough, it's exactly that same texture, just scaled up. It's crazy. What about that other texture that was in this room? The one that's even farther back where you would never even notice it. Now, this is the definitive edition of the game as well, so I don't know if these textures would even show up in the base game, or not the base game, the original version of the game. Okay, let me get a screenshot of this. Onwards to the rest of the world. Now, if you've never played Xenoblade Chronicles, a lot of the areas are very vast, and there's a lot to see in a lot of these areas. In this area specifically, Alcamoth, you're here not a long time, in all honesty. You do some side quests. If you want to, you can do all the side quests here, and that will lead to you pretty much seeing most of this area, if I'm being honest. I don't know if you'll go down every single little path if you do every single side quest in this area. It's been a long time since I've done the side quests here, but for the most part, you pretty much walk around this entire area. But it's still strange, because you don't normally walk all the way over here into this corner on the top, or I guess the middle section of the city. There's that same texture as well, but not the other one that we were looking for. But here's a new texture too. Did I find it? Is this it? Up. Can I not go up higher? That's as high as I can go. Okay, we're just gonna have to look up like this. No, I do not think that's the same texture. That's just another one. That's another new texture. It's similar though. It's pretty dang close. At least some of the ornamentation in that texture is close to that first one. Some more nice texture work. Some stuff you don't normally look at. Now, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, okay, there is an item orb over here, and I'm pretty sure in this little booth, sometimes people will spawn, and you can talk to them for side quests and such, but right now there's nobody here. There was that one item, so there is a reason to come all the way out here. Those are some new textures. Even the stairs each have their own little subtle textures. And the way that they're drawn make them look like they're part of the model of the stairs, but they clearly aren't. Like, if you look like this, like, they're flat. This area of the city has a very pink, yellow atmosphere to it. I didn't notice this until just now, and especially because of the pink floor. I've just been staring at the floor this entire time, but because of this floor, the whole room kind of, I guess the whole accents of the room is pink, but the floor really made it stand out. But what is this? I just noticed this as I was staring right here. It seems like it didn't match they didn't match it quite well, quite good enough or something, and so they just stretched it right here. Like right from this line divides the two parts of the texture. Like this part of the texture is just really scrunched. And maybe it's because it only needed to go to right there and it doesn't go any farther afterwards. Is this scrunched over here? Or is this part just elongated maybe? I would say that this part is actually elongated and this part is not scrunched. This is actually normally how it's supposed to look. It does widen out a little bit, which is just interesting as well. Is it flat right there? It's definitely flat. So why did they have to change the size right there? Couldn't have been just parallel like everything else? Very weird. This light on the floor from the window is almost like its own texture. Your characters don't like make a shadow on it, so it's just like they applied a PNG to the top of that. Here's another item. So another reason why you would come all the way over here. I think Xenoblade does a pretty good job of making you explore pretty much the entirety of their world. I'm sure there's probably a couple nooks and crannies you'll find that you don't necessarily have to explore for any reason or other. But for the most part, I feel like you will explore just about every bit of the world. Oh wow. That's beautiful. Look at that. We have got the falling stars. Oh, well, okay, well, we got to see a little bit of it at least. Okay, I was curious about this room as well. This is the room where you're quote-unquote prisoned in or captured and put into. And you don't really do anything other than have a couple cutscenes here, stand around a little bit, and then leave. And you pretty much never come back here ever again. But you see we've got some etched glass, which of course is just a texture. And then some more ornamentation on the floor. Some crazy looking chairs, that's for sure. Whoa, look at the ceiling textures. Those are like those textures on the walls from prior. Each cushion. Interesting. So the main chair is quite different from the little chair. Like granted, it's like very similar design, but I thought honestly they just would have used the same texture and just like stacked it twice and called it a day. This area is like technically outside. You never think about that when you're playing through this. It's basically you're outside right here, which is actually insane. Like you can see a lot of the Bionis, the world, from here. Where's the Mechonis? Okay, so there's the Mechonis. You can see him just peeking through right there. The chiseled glass kind of makes me like think it's not just a texture, especially when you're like, look at the top of that right there. Look at that stuff. As I'm like moving the camera and walking. It like reacts to the lighting in its own way. And then look at the door too. The door's got a little bit of that as well. Maybe it's just like some interesting tricks with making the texture slightly darker and transparent still. Interesting. Okay, this area is pretty cool. This is one of those places you really only ever are in once in the entire game. First off, obviously we got the cool rainbow bridge that, well, I guess it's not rainbow, it's just yellow. I always call these things rainbow bridges thanks to Halo. But anyway, yeah, so this room, we got all of these crazy tablets on the wall with a bunch of different, like, texts on them. And looking at them, they're different. Like, I'm sure there's probably a lot of duplicates. Oh, well. I died. Seeing that light up's really, really neat. Anyway, yeah, so where were we? Yes, the tablets. They, like I was saying, they seem to have a handful of different ones with different texts on them. And I'm just, like I said, I'm sure there's plenty of duplicates. Like this one looks very similar. Well, no, that's still different. How about that? Those two. Those two are probably about the same. Regardless, it's very, very interesting. There's this entire room is filled with them from the very top all the way down to the very bottom, essentially. Well, not the very, very bottom. I died again. You get the gist. Oh yeah, there's some in the middle too. While we're here, we can look at this door. Where is it? This door, okay. If I get too close to it, it's gonna disappear. There's another one. We'll go look at that one down there. There's a little bit of a texture on the door as well. We'll take a look at that really quick before it disappears on us. Right in the center, you can see a little texture there. It's pretty cool. You don't see it for very long because as soon as you get close to the door, they disappear. And this lights up. Anyway, yeah, so that's this room. It's got some cool ceiling. It's got these tablets everywhere. I'm assuming where this is supposed to be a tomb, I'm assuming that these tablets are supposed to be like names of all of the previous royals that have died. Very interesting. And behind the tablets themselves, you can see bits and pieces of the actual wall. Very interesting. Especially the way they're like seemingly phased into each other. It's kind of strange. But it makes for a really cool look. Even on the middle thing too. Okay, this is something else really neat. I just barely noticed. These handrails also have a texture too. This one right here looks a little bit squished because it goes from this straight line to a turn and a curve. But regardless, just the fact that they have little textures on these handrails, very, very cool. I like that a lot. This door is definitely different from the previous doors. It still has that same texture in the middle, but obviously it's got this nice flourish on the outside of it. There's some weird texture overlap on that corner and that corner as well. At least it's symmetrical with the weird texture overlaps. Almost looks like it's purposeful as a result, but I do not think it was. Something interesting about monster name text is if you look underneath his name, there's like a little design. There's a little pattern design. That design is very interesting. If you know what that is, then you know what that is. It's much more apparent on unique monsters. If I can't show you what I'm talking about, here's a screenshot. But if I have been able to show you, then you'll see that. Okay, here's an example of what I was talking about earlier. If you look at the name of the enemy that we're fighting, on the sides, there's a little design. It's very much so the same design, essentially. It's underneath their name and the thing, the what's it called, the I guess name box. Yeah, it's very obvious when you know what that is, but if you don't know what that is, it's very interesting to just see it here. She took off her mask without even taking it off. Sure. That's so funny. He grabs him by the pineapple. Okay, so this place is kind of strange right here. First thing that I noticed that was weird was this little texture up here on this ledge, right in the center of the screen. At first I thought they were Monado arts, like the little kanji that shows up in the middle of Monado. Very, very weird. I have no idea what these are. Second theory that I literally just came up with right now is that it's a depiction of the Bionis and Mechonis fighting. Like, the thing on the left would be the Mechonis, I guess, stretching out its sword, and the thing on the right would be the... Anyway, whatever. The next thing is that this texture is not centered. I don't know why, and I wonder if it's just because the place that I'm at only appears, like, once, and it's in a cutscene. That could be it. This area is just really freaking cool, by the way. You can't go to those outer domes, to my knowledge. I'm pretty sure you can't ever make it there, which is kind of sad. But regardless, very freaking cool. This is probably one of the coolest areas in the game. I'm surprised it's not a hidden or a secret area, if I'm being honest. I believe we can go over there, so we'll go check that out too if we can. I still can't find that one texture I've been talking about since the beginning either. which is very strange to me too. Very cool little spot, just kind of hidden off to the side. One of those classic, it's in a cutscene, so you can still go to it even though if it's in the cutscene. Anyway, let's move into the throne room. I might get stopped and get a cutscene, and I don't know how much of the throne room we'll be able to look at as a result. But I'll keep my eye out for that texture. I love these etched style texture looking things, where it looks like these were carved into the rock. Same with like those ones too. They do the same sort of a style. Okay, throne room. It looks like we're able to go in. That symbol, is that the symbol I'm thinking of? It's not, but it's relatively close. What's going on here? We have that same one on that's always on the floor, but this time it's on the wall. Same over here as well. I definitely thought there'd be a lot more unique textures going around here. During the cutscene, I saw this. It's the same over here and right here. And I thought for sure that had to be something similar to it. And it definitely was not. I was mistaken. This is cool. They just have his staff back here. Yes, Charla. Yes, out of the way. Very neat. Just his staff sitting right back here. The Emperor's staff. Very cool. Very cool. Some more reused textures for that thing on the side. Now, I don't think that's the same as what we saw in the tomb, but it looks pretty similar too. But this time it's glowing instead. Well, that does it for this room. Honestly, I'm still surprised we have yet to see that texture again. I could have just missed it, but it seems like it just doesn't exist in the world anywhere else but in that one spot. Which blows me away, honestly. This place is so gorgeous at night. That skybox is stunning. Oh my gosh, and I love it. So you can see Mechonis in the background with the glowing eyes. Holy cow, this game is so freaking pretty. The Aurora Borealis looking stuff in the sky. The beautiful Aerith Sea, and you can basically see the Machina Forest underneath too. It's that subtle green. So freaking cool, dude. Okay, I believe we can go over there now. I think it's the teleport, and I think it progresses the story if I'm not mistaken, but let's head over that way. So this area, even more so than the other areas I've shown off, is very much so an area you don't ever really come to. I don't think there's any side quests that make you go over here. I think this is the only time you ever go over here naturally. And the other thing I noticed as we first walked in is this right here. It's the same texture right here, but just like overlapped. Very interesting. I wonder if it was they just didn't want to do two like right here because it didn't match as well, so they decided to merge them. This is probably the only spot in the whole game where you see this. Not to mention, it's not just them overlapping the textures, because you'd see the lines from the edges of the star shape. It's definitely a completely new texture that they just copied and pasted them together. Very weird. Anything else going on here? No, it doesn't look like it. Oh my. We got the freaking stars coming down too. Holy cow, this game is so pretty. Wow. It's stunning, dude. Holy. Okay, hopefully we don't get the cutscene as soon as we step through this. I'd like to explore this room just a touch if possible. It does not look like I'm going to get my way. It's crazy because we're so high up where like these stars are even coming down to where we are. There's a texture. Oh, that star just hit us. Okay, there's a texture right there. It It's similar, once again, similar to what I'm looking for. Actually, no, it is it. That is it. It's just upside down. Okay, we did it. We found that same texture. It's right here. It's very large here, too. There it is on that side as well. Yeah, that's the exact same texture. It's just upside down from the previous view that we had of it. Okay, just ignore the very dire music. Oh, well, the dire music's gone. Well, okay, now we can explore this place with the beautiful skybox. Absolutely stunning skybox. We're going to explore this place to the full extent. Here's that same texture again. Oh, here's an interesting spot of it. It's two of them just mashed together. Very weird. But the real thing that I'm curious about is that one texture that we were looking forever for that we finally found. It's in Melia's chambers, or whatever you want to call it here. Here it is. Normally, we saw it from this direction, but now we can see it from this direction, which is almost likely its intended direction. Very cool looking. Is it one for one the same texture? That's what I'm curious. I mean, obviously it is, but like, I didn't take a good enough picture to show everything. It definitely has these small little flourishes on the side that I can see, but I didn't see if it's got this stuff right here. We'll have to check that out too at some point, but or I'll just flash back to the video at this point. Let's just finish taking a look at this area, and then I think we're gonna call it. I do like how they kind of come together right there. That looks nice. I love it. We're just so high up that the stars fall in here. It's so cool. Anything unique going on here? You have that original texture from forever ago. Some doors, I'm assuming, is what these are. You would think there would be like an actual like room for like a bed and everything. Maybe it's up there and we just can't get to it. Oh, that's a cool looking texture. I don't recall seeing anything like that in anywhere else in Alcamoth. Okay, here's that same texture again. And on the back side of it, it stops us from going over here. Oh, in fact, not only that, it's like literally an invisible wall. Probably one of the cooler areas in the game. The more spectacle areas in the game. Very pretty, very it's really easy on the eyes, this area, that's for sure. I love how the stars are falling in here. That's so cool. Well, I think that does it. This has been just looking around in Xenoblade, specifically in Alcamoth, checking out the textures. I guess this sort of became a texture video, looking at the textures of the different things. I didn't necessarily intend it to be a texture video. I kind of just wanted to explore Alcamoth and show all the nooks and crannies, but it became mostly a texture thing when we went on the hunt for that one texture. I'm very happy that we found it, and it's very cool that it ended up being the very last place that we searched. That was a nice little cherry on the top of the cake. But yeah, that's it. Oh, I guess I should say, I originally did this because I was inspired by Annie Austin. I wanted to do something kind of like his videos. I've been watching him for probably 6 to 9 months now. It's been a long time. But ever since I watched his random nooks and crannies, areas, and video games videos that he does, I've always wanted to do something like that in some of the games that I really enjoy. And Xenoblade's one of my favorites, so that's why we're here first. I may do more of these. I don't know. We'll see. It's just more of if I feel like it. I definitely saw that texture down there forever ago at the very beginning of the video, and that's what made me want to do this and inspired me, I guess you will, to do this. But yeah, so that's it for now. We'll give you a nice little shot of the sky with the Bionis' head. You get to see the stars coming down. There we go. Very cool.